Hey, how's it going? Joshua Six Up Tabletop. Finally getting back to some of the American War of Independence, painting reviews, look-throughs, etc. So we're back with another review looking at, from Wargames Atlantic, in their range, The Age of Reason, the 5th Regiment of Foot Grenadiers. Now, I don't specifically know why the marketing is the 5th Regiment. Well, they do notate that the 5th Regiment, fought in a lot of the early battles, and so that it is fairly, popular. It also coincides with the 250 in terms of America's birthday. So that could be the reason why. So little questions on there, but I just wanted to bring some attention to this. I did pick this up with my own money from the store. And so, this is my review. It comes with 30 multi-part hard plastic 28mm figures. And I just want to give a shout out to however they framed this box, because I think the box looks really nice. It looks really beautiful from Wargames Atlantic. So they talk a little bit of history in the back. So Wargames Atlantic, this was the summer of 2025, came out with this kit. I've had this for a while and I just never got around to painting it. And they also came out with a American Colonial Militia kit. So hopefully I'll be able to take a look at that in the future. Let's get to the sprue. Let's look at some of the models painted. I'll compare them to some other Grenadiers that I painted just for a little bit of size comparison, and we'll see what we got. As we get into the sprue, I just want to notate what comes in the box is just 6 of these sprues, nothing else. There's no assembly instructions, there's no bases, no history guides or anything like that, which is honestly, it's okay. It's not ideal. I guess if I'm comparing it to the standards that Warlord Games and Perry's have put forth with their plastics. But I do want to note that these figures were not hard to put together whatsoever. But I would consider myself a more, moderate to experienced modeler. And so the bodies, you just pick a set of arms. So you go A2, and then I'm assuming there's A1 that exists on the sprue elsewhere. And that those would be the arms that go on any of the bodies. And then you have, a variety of different heads with different expressions on them. Also, there's these nice, basically packs and ammo container or satchel, and then they have the swords, which is nice to see. It shows the more elite status of the Grenadiers, and all the figures do have the elite wings on their shoulders. So I would not use these as normal infantry, British regulars, but they would do nicely for the Grenadiers, so what they are intended for. So there's the sprue. Pretty happy with that. Like I said, not too complicated to build. And let's get in to look at what the models look like assembled and painted. All right, jumping in, we have 3 basically bases I built. It is worth noting that, so this is still from my Bunker Hill project, and a small unit for me is 3 bases. So these, I only needed 3 bases from this kit. Obviously I can make much more because it came with 30, but I will notate that it took quite a while to paint some of these figures. I think they turned out quite well, fit my scheme well, but yes, it did take quite a bit to paint, as there is a lot of straps, a lot of white to paint on these figures. Zooming in on this one. That, I guess, an advantage or disadvantage on this kit is that there is a lot of multi-pose kits, so not everyone is holding the same, has the same stance. Like the Perrys, there's, basically 2 options for how you can do your infantry with them standing and holding their weapons. And here there is basically 4 to 5 to 6 different options. And that can lead to having some people like consistency on their bases. I am of the fact that it's not as big of a deal, but that is something to note, that the poses might not all be the same, so you might not have the unit regularity. As I talked about a little bit, there's a lot of straps. I timed myself painting all the white detail, some of the white here, and they're on the jackets and the wings and on the side. Took me about 25 minutes per model to paint all the white detail, though I would consider myself pretty meticulous painting. So that is not to mention all the other effects on here. So for me, this was quite a timely project, but I am fairly happy with how they turned out. I think the faces are good. The best way I would describe these figures are, they are a nice mix between Warlord and the Perrys. They have that like 3D designed computer graphic figure type that I associate with Warlord. But there's something that kind of, I don't know if it's the size, the bulkiness, that kind of remind me a little bit of the Perrys. So in terms of on the table, I think they would fit quite nicely. All right, so I want to compare them size-wise. Here's one stand. This is a separate stand that I made. And these guys are figures that I took. Basically, these are Perry figures and Warlord figures kit bashed together. So the Warlord heads have the Grenadier heads, and I believe that these are a mix of Perry arms and Warlord bodies. So this is to compare some of the Grenadiers that I kind of kit bashed together. Definitely, different poses, but it is worth noting that there is a little bit more detail on the ones from Wargames Atlantic. As you can see, we got the swords and a little bit more buttons, a little bit more detail. I think they're size-wise, the Wargames Atlantic ones are a little bit bigger than the infantry, the Warlord ones, but all in all, I think that they fit quite well together, and I like the size and the mass of the Wargames Atlantic ones, as it will really make your Grenadiers stand out on the table. So this is Josh with 6 Up Tabletop. I hope you got something out of this. I did see a comment on the Wargames Atlantic kind of threads that there are more releases for Wargames Atlantic, and that there was consideration of doing a command set for these infantry for Grenadiers, and that potential future releases for American War of Independence. So I do like this kit. I am glad that I purchased these. I think there's a space for specific plastic Grenadiers for the American War of Independence. I'm glad I purchased it. Awesome to have it in my army. I'm glad I only had to paint 12, and I already have like 20 more Grenadiers that I painted, because that's a lot of extra detail for the elites, which I'm happy to do, but I'm looking forward to painting maybe some more basic infantry in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.